Okay, and we're live. I'm here with Ognjen topic, the foreigner who has a pretty impressive resume when it comes to Muay Thai. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. What's going on with you?
I'm doing fine. I'm still here in Thailand, so life isn't that hard. How are things in the States right now?
Uh, Pretty good, but they can be better as far as letting us do what we need to do,
Yeah.
training and things like that. Things aren't
You-
back to normal, so we're just waiting on that.
Yeah, working on what you have. Were you in Thailand when the COVID pandemic kind of started?
Yeah, I was there in March, and then I was supposed to fight at the end of March, but then when things started happening, we contacted the embassy,
Mhm.
just to see what the U.S. embassy, just to see what they thought about if we should stay or go, and they said you should leave immediately because then you might get stuck over there.
Mm. Was it crazy before you left? Like the gym was probably shutting down.
Yeah, everything was shutting down. They started implementing the what's it called, the curfew, and
Yeah.
gyms were all shut down. So
Yeah, not the best place to stay. Um, where do you think your story starts? Like, I always use my own story as an example. Like, I say my story starts when I was 22, because that's when I went through depression and suicidal tendencies, and I beat that. And that's kind of how I started my journey. Like, where would you say your story started?
well, I started when I was 14, and I started watching a lot of boxing, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a boxer, but my parents didn't want to let me box, because for them they brought me to America to go to school and make something of myself, not to fight for money. And
Mm-hmm.
so and also I had a lot of like concussions when I was a kid. I had two or three concussions, so they were afraid that that might have an effect on me in long term. So I told them, okay, if you don't let me do boxing, then let me do like karate or taekwondo or something. So they let me do that because there's no hits to the head. And so I started doing that when I was 14, and I got my black belt when I was 18. But throughout that whole time, I knew that taekwondo for me, it wasn't it. It's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't gonna be a good fighter through that, and I wanted to fight in the ring, since 14. So then finally I saw Muay Thai for the first time on ESPN channel, which is a sports
Mm-hmm.
channel here in America, and right away I fell in love with it. And before that, I knew about kickboxing as well. I would watch K1 fights, um, every time they had it on TV. So I knew about kickboxing, but then as soon as I saw Muay Thai, it was like a whole different thing for me. Just their rhythm, the way they moved, how sturdy they were and balanced. There was like a huge difference for me from kickboxing and Muay Thai, and I knew I wanted to do it, but I had no clue what Muay Thai was at the time because it was the first time I saw it. So I went on the internet. We had internet back then, so I went on there. I started looking up, gyms in the area, and I found the gym, North Jersey Muay Thai, which is the gym that I'm still with. So I've been with them since I was 18 years old.
Mm. How's your transition from traditional martial arts to Muay Thai? Because the kicks are very different.
Oh yeah, it was a tough transition because like you said, everything's like different. You snap your kicks in Taekwondo, whereas in Muay Thai you go through, and then you block low kicks with your arm. You block kicks with your arm, and that's no good in Muay Thai. In fact, I remember one time. Well, actually, one of the first times I ended up sparring in Muay Thai, I walked up to this big guy, Mark, who's still my friend since then. And I was all cocky and stuff, young, and I told him that low kicks are like, it's bullshit for me. I can take low kicks because in Taekwondo, if we did low kicks, it was like snapping, so I never felt the pain. So I
Uh,
was like, fuck low kicks. That's nothing for me. So we started sparring, and this guy kicked me like a couple of times in the leg, and
Mhm.
I couldn't bend down. First of all, my whole leg was like bruised, and then I couldn't bend down for like a whole week. My leg was like totally destroyed, and then obviously that changed my mind.
Then you know it was legit. How did
Yeah,
your how did your parents react to the transition?
that was a tough time. When I first told them that I was gonna do Muay Thai, first of all, it was difficult for them to let me do Taekwondo, because again, it's a contact sport, and they're bringing me to America to go to school and make something of myself, not to be a fighter. To them, the way they see fighting is that's the lowest form of making money. They think that you went to school and you failed at that. You try to do a regular job, you failed at that. So now you literally have to fight for your money, in order to survive. So that's how they see fighting. Even though my father was a huge fight fan, and we would always sit together and watch the K1 fights and the MMA fights when Fedor Emelianenko would fight. We would always watch that together. But to him, it was me doing it. It was a completely different thing. So when I first told them that I found a Muay Thai school, and obviously they had no idea what that was, and they told me explain what that is. So I told them, it's like similar to kickboxing, and right off the bat, my father flipped out on me, told me I can't do it, I'm not allowed to do it. So I said, that went on for a couple of days, and I told him, okay, I promise you, I'm not gonna fight. I'm just gonna go there and train. Everything will be safe. You're not going to have any issues. But of course, I've been wanting to fight since I was 14. I knew I wanted to fight. So I knew I was going to fight no matter what when I was 18. So finally, when I started fighting, it was about 2 years after. So the reason why it took me about a year and a half, 2 years to start fighting is because of my parents. I didn't want to lie to them, but it's just something that I needed to do. This is what I wanted to do. I knew right off the bat. So yeah, I started fighting about 2 years after I started doing Muay Thai, and I never told him about fighting because I knew how my father would react, and so I just did it behind their back for like years. The only person I knew was my sister.
Mhm.
At the time she was still living in the same house as we all were. So I would hide the fights. So pretty much my whole amateur career, they never knew that I was fighting. And then this one time, uh, my father comes up to me and he shows me a fight that he found on YouTube. And throughout this whole time, I never posted up any fights on YouTube. Nothing was ever posted up on Facebook. It was just very secretive. And so uh, he tells me, what is this? He confronts me, and it was somebody that posted up the fight online, and it was a fight that didn't look too good for me. And that went down. That was very bad, and we didn't talk for like 6 months, and we lived in the same house, and we would just pass by each other like this, and
Mm.
after those 6 months, I'm my own man. My father's his own man. We're both gonna have disagreements. I'm not gonna talk to him. He's not gonna talk to me. And after those 6 months, we kind of just started like talking together, and everything went back to normal. But we never discussed any of anything regarding the fighting. We just kind of started talking again, and that was it. So in their
Mm.
mind, they knew that I was still fighting, but we never brought it up. And then after my 20th amateur fight, I finally sat down with them, and it was on the Serbian Christmas, January 7th. I sat down with both of them, and and I told them, you're either going to choose to support me because this is obviously a profession now. You're either going to support me, or this is the last time you're going to see me, and that's it. We're cutting ties. And I was prepared to do that, and I love my parents. I would do anything for my parents. They gave me this life that I have now, and
Mm.
they were great parents. They gave me everything that they can give me, and with all of that said, I was still prepared to leave them. That's how much I wanted to do the sport, and I knew my mother was she obviously was gonna crumble, and she was just gonna support me no matter what. But I thought that my father was really gonna say, okay, pack your bags, get out, and that's it. I really
Mm.
thought that he was gonna that he was prepared to do that as well. But thankfully, he was he understood where I was going with this. And not only that, but my father was a professional soccer player. So he knows an athlete's mentality, and he was at a high level, so he understood what I was talking about. So he said, "Okay, I will support you," and everything's been okay since then.
What do you say to teenagers or people who may be a little bit older than that who are like in the same situation? Because my story when it comes to fighting is kind of similar. Like I always wanted to box. My mom said no. My dad said no as well. My mom, her reasoning was like, if you box, you're gonna get an ugly nose. I was like, I don't care. And then I started training MMA when I was 23. But I told my parents it was like karate, so they didn't find out what MMA was until they found it on TV, like just on accident, and they were like fuming. They were like, "Is this what you're doing?" I had my
Yeah.
first fight. I had my first fight in Thailand. Like I never fought back home after about 2 years. So like, what advice would you give to people who were kind of going down the same route?
Man, there's too many avenues to go to. I mean, there's stuff from monetary advice to not caring what people think, to having high self-esteem and high confidence. But in general, if you truly do want to do this and you can't live without this, you can't breathe without the sport, then you just have to do it. You have to go. I mean, I'm not going to tell you that you should leave your parents, but just use me as an example. I was prepared fully to never see my parents again. People who I loved the most in my life, who I would do anything for in my life. And so, I mean, if that's the case with somebody that's an aspiring fighter, and not just a fighter, but anything in the anything you choose, any type of profession. If that's what you want to do, you have to go and do it, because at the end of the day, you have a short amount of time on this world, and you're the only one that's gonna you're gonna be dying by yourself. Put it that way. So when it's time for you to die and you're on that deathbed, hopefully you have that type of death. Um, you're gonna probably be going back and thinking about all the things that you could have done or should have done. So you have to go through with them.
How did you eventually end up in Thailand?
Well, that was the goal from beginning.
Huh?
Um, Actually, I forgot how everything started, but my mother told me that one day I just came back home, and I told her that, okay, I just bought a ticket to Thailand, and I'm going to Thailand for a month. And that's how it was. And again, that was difficult because again, it was that time where I was still hiding things from my parents, and then now all of a sudden I'm going to Thailand. They had to have been thinking something. Why would I be going to Thailand if I'm just doing this as like a hobby?
Mm.
So and of course they knew nothing about Thailand. The culture is completely different
Yes.
than we're used to in the West. But it's something that I needed to do, and I went there. I think I was I was like 20 years old or 21, something like that, the first time I went.
Mm. How how did you end up fighting in like Lumpini? Because I'm not following the local scene that much, but if I'm right, there are not a lot of foreigners who fight in like the big stadiums here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about fighting in Lumpini Stadium. There's sometimes there's like amateurs with not much experience that can fight in Lumpini Stadium. It all depends on what show you get on. It's the show
Mm.
that matters, because the more people there are in the stadium, and the high level betters, and then not only that, but high level competition. That's what counts.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, my goal was to fight in Lumpini Stadium or Rajasthan Stadium, one of the two famous stadiums, and to build my name there. And I'm still on that same road, but this year I feel like it was just stolen from me. So and like I was saying before, as athletes, I'm 34 years old now. As athletes, we don't have much time, and it takes a long time to perfect something, if there is such a thing, which obviously there isn't. But to become great at something, or to try to be great at something, it takes a long time. And and I don't know how much time I have left. You never know with your body aging and getting up there in years as an athlete.
Yes. You started pretty well late in the sport in terms of the fighting sport. How do you feel now, when like property wise? Because like when I turned 21, my dad and my cousin they looked at me and they were like, "Enjoy your birthday. This is the best year of your life." And after that, it goes downhill. And I was like, "Already?" It's like that doesn't sound pleasant. Eventually, of course, because of my lifestyle, I still feel better than ever. So I'm wondering, when do you feel like, okay, I'm aging?
I started feeling like that when I was turning like around 30, 31. That's when I started
Uh-huh.
feeling that I started getting more of those small injuries, and my eyesight started getting a little worse. So you feel those things.
Mm. Are you still pretty active when you're in Thailand?
What do you mean by active? Do I still fight?
Well, you still fight, but I mean, like you try to fight twice a month, twice, no, once every 2 months. If I,
Something like that. Yeah. I mean, I tried to fight every month, but with injuries and things like that, sometimes it ends up, twice, once every 2 months.
mm. And how long do you think you can still do this?
Man, I hope I never have to stop. You
Yeah.
know that that's what I want, but who knows? I mean, guys like John Wayne Parr,
Yeah.
he gives me a good feeling that somebody at that age can still go, because I think he's like 41 or something like that, and
Mm.
he just had his hip replaced. So I mean, that's gonna be, if he continues fighting, that's gonna be a true testament of what's possible. And regardless, even if he was or if he wasn't at that age, I would still continue. As long as I can do it, I would still continue. Obviously Sanchai too. He's 40 years old and he's still fighting. Kevin Ross from America, he's 40 actually. He's still going to be fighting. So I mean, I'm hoping I have at least 6 more years left, if not longer.
Do you have a plan after fighting?
Yeah, the plan is always as it is now. Continue, doing my seminars around the country and around the world. Doing personal sessions and things like that. I like to be smart with my money and invest my money. So I'm purchasing as much. I'm gonna be purchasing as much real estate as I can.
Mm.
So hopefully that can offset some of my costs before I retire.
Recently, you put out two videos on how to stay long term in Thailand. What tips would you give to people who come out here for the first time and aren't as seasoned in their career as you are, like who earn less money fighting?
Just come here and learn as much as you can. I never expected to make any money from Muay Thai, and that's why I did I you know I did so many other things so I can have a different stream of income. For Muay
Mm.
Thai, for me, it's like I just don't see how I can make a lot of money just from the actual fighting aspect,
Mm.
because you don't get paid too much. Um, so for those guys that are younger, forget about the money. The money you can always make somehow, but knowledge is what's important. So when you come to Thailand, you're not coming there to fuck around and go out and stuff like that. If this is what you want to do, then training is the number one thing. Training, and then get as much experience as you can fighting.
Yeah. Would you advise people to go to Bangkok? Because like I realize Bangkok is the pinnacle of Muay Thai, but like money wise, I looked up some gyms and like the membership fee for like a month was like my cost for monthly living over here.
So what was your question? What's the
So would you advise people who come to Thailand to train in Bangkok? Because like I understand why people would say go to Bangkok because that's basically where you have the highest level of Muay Thai. But like
yeah?
money wise, I'm like, a membership over there for 1 month is my cost of living here in the southeast.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely advise people if they have the means, money wise, to go to Bangkok. Then yeah, Bangkok is the place you want to be if you want to have the best chances of fighting at a highest level and at the stadiums. You know, if let's say you're fighting down in Phuket or Pattaya, there's a couple of high level gyms there as well. But if
Mm.
you're just starting out in Muay Thai, they may not want to drive all the way to Thailand, to Bangkok, to
Yeah.
put you on a show in Lumpini just to make what 3,000 baht, which is about $90, $100, if not less than that. So you have to think about that as well.
Mm. Um, you also mentioned that you were doing seminars. Like, how did you come up with the idea to start seminars?
That was my coach. My coach just kept telling me you should do seminars. It'll be it'll be good for you, and you're good at teaching. So I started doing the seminars, and for me, I wanted to do the seminars long before, and also I wanted to do the personal training, but I just regard myself always. I put a lot of pressure on myself to be the best first. And to me, if I can't beat Sanchai, then I'm not the best. I don't care. And I lost to Sanchai, so how can I be teaching somebody? That's my mentality. But with that being said, I still have a lot of knowledge to offer, and you know, I am a good teacher, and I know how to break things down very well. And all the people that I've taught have all said that that I've helped them out a lot, and people that I went to do the seminars always tell me that I'm a great teacher, and I can explain myself correctly. So there's always a way to do these things.
Hmm. Do you think your way of teaching is being influenced by your fighting style? Because if you would put a name on your fighting style, it would be Muay Fever, which is kind of rare for foreigners. Like,
Yeah,
would you say those go hand in hand?
yeah, definitely. And I like to analyze a lot when I'm fighting, and not only when I'm fighting, but when I'm outside of fighting. So I'm obsessed with making things as efficient as possible. I think there's there's just something about that I love about make doing the least amount of putting the least amount of effort into something and to get the most benefit out of it. So complete
Hmm.
efficiency. I love that. And so obviously when I first started Muay Thai, I used to study a lot of videotapes, and I still study some fights now, and I'm constantly thinking. I'm intuitive when I'm training, when I'm hitting pads, when I'm sparring, and then obviously in the fight. So, yeah, all that translates into my seminars and the way I explain things.
How did you come up with that fighting style? Because like most gyms won't teach you that style. I don't know if they teach you that style in your gym or is it something you picked up on your own?
I mean, that just is what made sense to me. When I would
Okay.
watch a lot of these fights, I would notice how these fighters would be fighting, and it was always the guys that were the smartest that would end up winning. And it's just something that made sense to me. Why would you take punishment if you don't need to? Why go in there and rush in there like you're two bulls and then beat the shit out of each other, and then somebody's gonna get knocked out when you can
Hmm.
play it smart and be an intelligent fighter and use your brain.
What advice would you give to people who want to kind of have a similar style?
Just study a lot of fights. You have to study fights. um, Studying fights is what gave me I would say options. You're
Hmm.
not going to necessarily, especially if you're fighting outside of Thailand, right? You're not gonna get all the styles that you need to in order to get up to the levels fast enough. So you have to study these fights, so when something comes at you in that way and in that manner, you know how to react with it. Whether somebody does it in sparring with you or not. You know, I mean, you can even ask your partner, hey, let's try this out and let's see how this counter works for this move. You know, so you have to study these fights and study all the different styles that there is, and you know, then you're gonna be able to have a vast library of techniques.
Hmm. Now, in your seminars, you obviously teach your style, but you also cover the mental aspect and nutrition. Like one of the things you recently mentioned on Instagram was the liver shot, how you can get through that through mental conditioning. How did you come up with the idea to put that in a seminar as well?
I mean, it's just something that I touch upon. You know, I give people the tips that have helped me in a
Mhm.
fight. You know, nobody taught me how to deal with this difficulty in a fight. I just had to figure it out because I wasn't gonna succumb and lose. And I promised myself that I will never go down from a body shot. And
Yeah,
so and I've taken some very very serious body shots in the past, and from a lot bigger guys. And believe me, I wanted to go down and take a break, but you know, I made myself fight through it. And then you know, when you do that once, twice, now you know. As soon as you get hit, yeah, it's a very difficult situation. It's a very difficult time for those 10, 15 seconds until you can breathe again. But
yeah,
you have to create these triggers for yourself. So as soon as you get hit, now you're triggered, and now you have that mental ability to do what you train yourself in sparring to do. You know, and obviously I would especially tell people to practice this if it does happen in sparring. Sparring is no different for me as far as the mentality goes than when you're in a real fight. You know, just because it's sparring, you don't go down. You fight through that, and you know, you don't give up.
yeah. I was asking because like yesterday, I did a private with one of my crews, and he hit me with a liver shot, and I didn't go down, but it was like, "Ugh," and he heard it, and he was like, "Yeah, I got you," and I was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
yeah.
that's definitely a tricky
And
one."
think what you know, fighting is also very psychological. And fighters, I feel like sometimes we can be like these psychologists, you know, where we understand and we can read the body and the demeanor of our opponent. So
Yeah,
sometimes think about what that does to your opponent. If let's say I hit you with my best shot and I hit you in the liver, and I know that I caught you and I see it in your face that you know you're in pain, but you're not going down. Think about that, what it does to me mentally. Now I'm thinking, man, this guy's fucking made out of steel or something.
yeah. So, do you work on your mental aspect as well?
No, I don't.
Not really. So it's like all you kind of get your toughness through suffering from like conditioning workouts and Muay Thai workouts.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I've never done any like meditating or like like been with like a mind coach or something like that.
Okay. Do you read at all or
No, man. If I'm opening up a book, it's to see look at pictures. That's it. I don't.
okay? But you still have a pretty interesting philosophy on life, I feel. Like how would you say that you developed that?
Well, what do you? Well, you know what? I think everything comes down to just logic. That's it for me.
Okay.
Being and being fair. That's those are two things that I try to um, uphold always to myself. And then obviously not being emotional, not making decisions based off of emotions, not letting somebody know your emotions, and and yeah, not succumbing to in that way. And I think I found that I learned that from just observing my father. You know, me and my father, we never sat down, we never talked about shit. The only things we talk about is business stuff, you know,
Mhm.
and that's just how our culture is in Serbia. You know, I'm sure most Eastern Europeans are like this, and so I just learned from him by observing him. The only emotion he ever showed was anger. That's it.
Okay. Do you think that's a good thing? Like I I think it's a good thing personally, but like I can so I'm from Belgium, so I'm from Europe as well. But like in Europe, in Belgium we mostly see some people say Eastern European people are very cold, and I was like I don't agree with that, but I get where it comes from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love the way my father brought me up. I wouldn't have it any other way. Uh, like I said, me and my father, we never had like a relationship where him and I sat down. We talked about. I mean, yeah, we would talk about things, but it was never emotional stuff. He never said "I love you" to me. I never said "I love you" to him. It's just not
Mhm.
something that we do. But we
Yeah.
both love each other. I would, like I said, I would give up my life for my father and
Yeah.
also my mom and of course my sister. And Eastern Europeans, it's not that we're cold. Um, we are very warm with our family, you know, but I don't. I mean, I really don't know what it is about Eastern Europeans and having that tough type of mentality. I really don't know, but we are very close, and family means a lot to us. So I don't think we are like very cold when it comes to that. Maybe we come off that to come off of like that to other people because we don't trust a lot of people, and I think that comes from from all the wars that we've been. I mean, we don't really trust too many people.
Mhm. Yeah, I had some Polish training partners back in Belgium, and they were amazing. Like they were tough as nails. And in the beginning, it was hard for me because like I didn't really understand the culture. But after a while, they were amazing. Like they were very warm people, like you said. They were
Yeah,
very open to me. Once you
yeah,
know them, they're amazing people.
right, right.
Did you have a hard time adjusting to the Western mentality?
Yeah, it was difficult when I first came. I mean, um, yeah, everything was different, especially here in America. You know, the way the kids were treated, the way the kids treated their parents, it was completely different. Um, yeah, there was a lot of things that I had to kind of understand, and I still don't feel comfortable with some of the culture differences. You know.
Mm. Yeah, I was asking because like I never met people from the States until I was like 26, and I'm 27 right now, and
Yeah.
sometimes I still have issues like understanding how American culture works. To me, it's very weird for
Right.
some of them. Yeah. Would you don't have kids right now?
No.
Okay. If you ever have kids, would you like raise them the way your father did, or would you like take a mixture of both, like with the Western and the Eastern European?
I would raise them like my father raised me. I would be very tough on them, and it's because I have high expectations for everybody that I'm close to, and that I love, or that I have a relationship with, and but it doesn't even come anything close to how much an expectation I have for myself. So I uphold everybody to the same level that I uphold myself, and like I said, upholding myself is at a whole different level.
Mm. I recently had Adi Solo on the podcast, and we talked about this kind of as well. And we talked about imposing toughness on your children because it's important. Like, how would you do that? Because he was saying that sometimes it's very hard because you want to give your kids comfort as well. You know, you want to have your kids a better life than you. Like, what are some ways that you would try to do that? Would you try to do it through sports or,
Well, think about this. You said, how would I impose discipline?
yeah, discipline, struggle?
Yeah, well, think about this. I'm this person maybe because of the history that I had and what I had to go through with my family. We had to leave Bosnia because the war started, and then when we came to Serbia, we had a lot of struggles for years. Then from Serbia, we came to America, struggling again constantly, and so throughout all that time, my parents did the best that they can do with me, and I knew that as a kid, as a teenager, I knew all that, you know, and this is how I turned out. So why would I change that and give my child everything that he wants to have,
Mhm.
and fuck him up in the future because now he thinks that he can have anything he wants. He just has to ask for it. No, he's gonna live the same lifestyle that I live, and you know, as much as I can give him that type of lifestyle, you know, it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna be demanding, and there will be discipline involved, and I think kids need to be disciplined.
Mhm.
No, I don't think you can only talk to kids and have them understand whether they're doing something right or doing something wrong. They have to know who the boss is, and they have to know that through fear. That's the only way to gain a child's respect, through fear. It has to be done that way. And I'm not saying beat the shit out of your kid. No, I'm not saying that at all. And I'm not saying it do it on a weekly basis. But every once in a while, that kid needs to be disciplined in a physical manner, and he needs to be hit. And especially a male child. I
Yeah.
don't know females. I don't know if I would raise a female kid the same way. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't hit a girl.
Now you lived in Eastern Europe and you lived in America. How was the transition to Thailand? Because I have the feeling that in a way Thai culture is a little bit tougher than the Western culture as well.
Yeah, when we first came from Serbia to America, the culture was completely different. And
Mhm.
then when I went from America to Thailand, it was like the difference between Serbia and America. It was like nothing compared to what it was, how different it was from Thailand to America. You know, it was
Mhm.
fully different.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's difficult to adjust to the different culture in Thailand. But all you can do is go there and respect them, respect their culture, and respect the people, because you are going there and living. You can't go in there with that mentality where, you know, you're arrogant about things, because it's not your country. You know,
Yeah.
if you can't understand them, um, learn the language. You know, I mean, there's no other way around it.
Mm. Did they did the trainers or your training partners teach you parts of the culture? Because like I just the trainers teach me the culture just through stuff. Like for example, there there was a guy who had a fight, and I was always running with him in the morning, and he had shin splints, and he was complaining about it. And he was like, I don't know if I'm gonna run this morning. And one of the coaches heard it, and he came over, and he was like, you are fighting, so you have to run. And if it hurts, you just keep running until it stops hurting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some things are like that, definitely. I think Thais, as far as Muay Thai goes, they're still a little behind with the advancement of athletic training, and you know, they don't know a lot of things. All they know is how they trained 20, 30 years ago. You know, and they stay with that routine, and um, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with it, but yeah, there could be some adjustments that can make the fighters even better. You know.
Yeah, I agree on that. Do you train proper Thai style when you're here in Bangkok, or do you adjust your training schedule so that you're like more athletic?
What? Say that again. Do I train Thai style only?
Yeah, do you train when you're in Bangkok? Do you train like a Thai train, or do you adjust your training schedule? Like, do you implement strength conditioning, spreads?
Yeah, I just train Thai style. And
Okay.
I think, you know, I've done like the strength and conditioning. I do that when I'm here in America, and
Hmm.
I like that as well, because it's a change, and it's a really great workout. You know, working with kettlebells and things like that. But I still don't think anything beats, you know, very hard rounds on the pads. Nothing's gonna get you in shape better than that. What I did do now is, now that I'm older, I take more rest. You know, as difficult as that is for an athlete to do, I think that it's very beneficial to your training to take you know, time off and rest.
How does your training look like when you're in Bangkok? Is it like the morning run and then a 2 hour session and then same thing in the afternoon?
Yeah, exactly. We start running at 6 a.m. And we run for about an hour. I forgot how many kilometers that is or miles. Then we go back to the gym and we do some. If you have a fight coming up, then you're kicking pads. If you don't have a fight, then you're just hitting the. You do knees on the bag, teeps on the bag, and then we do some weights, shadow boxing, some stretching, and then that's it. Sometimes we do sparring as well, regular Muay Thai sparring. And then you go back to your room, you eat, you sleep, and then you wake up at 3. 3 is when the next session starts, and then the same thing. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays we do boxing sparring,
Mhm.
and then everybody hits pads. You hit the bag, and that's pretty much the training schedule.
Mm. Do you ever spar hard here? Because like I know most Thai gyms aren't that fond of hard sparring, but I know there are gyms who like to live by it.
Yeah, we all do boxing sparring. That's hard because we have 18-ounce gloves,
Mm.
and so we're more protected. Even though I've been hit hard with even with 18-ounce gloves, but we do spar harder with boxing. But when we do regular Muay Thai, we don't really go too hard because if you hurt your bone, that's gonna take a lot longer time to heal, especially if you have a fight coming up.
What is your what is your view on the current Muay Thai scene in Thailand? Because like with Tiger, especially with their tryouts, like Muay Thai has kind of gotten more popular. Like everybody knows about the tryouts, but like not everybody's a fan of them, and some people say it's not real Muay Thai. Do you think it's a good thing that stuff like this happens?
Yeah, I mean, it brings eyes onto the into the sport.
Mm.
But again, if you want to do traditional real Muay Thai the way it's been done for the past few decades, then you have to go to a different gym because Tiger is not gonna it's not gonna give you that same experience.
Mm.
So you have to truly look for a gym that's going to benefit you in that way.
Did you find your gym where you are at right now from the start, or did you travel around in the beginning?
It was just on the internet. I wanted to find the best gym that has the most amount of elite fighters in the gym,
Mm.
and that was that. I looked up Payindi, and
Yeah.
then PK Sanchai, and PK Sanchai was just a better fit for me, and that's why I chose them.
Okay, we're close to 45 minutes. I'm gonna close it here. Do you want to give a shout out to sponsors, for Instagram, YouTube channel?
Yeah, for everybody out there watching, if you guys want to learn more about Muay Thai and check out all my topic tips that I do regarding Muay Thai, you guys can follow me at Topic Fight, and that's across all social media, whether it's YouTube, Twitter, Facebook fan page, Instagram, and then of course I want to acknowledge all my sponsors, which is Infight Style, On It for all my supplements, Infight Styles for all my gear, and also Hudson Valley CBD, which is a CBD company, and I use them for all my pain relief and just to stay relaxed.
All right. Do you have any discount codes or?
Yeah, throughout all those, they're all Topic, TOPIC.
Okay. Thank you
And
for being on.
that's anybody for all those other ones, they're all pretty much international, but
Uh-huh.
anybody that's living in New Jersey, New York area, then you guys can also check out cleaneatsmealprep.com, and Clean Eats is the company that I use for all my meal preps. So if anybody's wondering how my nutrition is, go on their website, cleaneatsmealprep.com, and check out what they have, and that's basically what I eat every day when I'm here in America.
All right.
And you can
Thank you.
use
Oh,
for that
sorry.
top 10.
All right. Thank you for being on.
You got it, bro. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bye.